To the special council meeting for Wednesday, March 12th. We are reconvening at 9:08 p.m. And in our discussion in camera, we have a couple of motions to arise. So I will turn to Councillor Peterson.
Your Worship, I would move that Council direct our administration to bring to Council at the April 2nd meeting a revised terms of reference for the Community Wellness Task Force that has a focus on the planning and advisory function of the task force, and to extend the term and to move to extend the term of the Community Wellness Task Force from May 2025 to September 10 of 2025.
Thank you for the motion. And is there discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Wiley.
Just for the people at home, would Councillor Peterson be able to just give a general overview of what the advisory task force would be?
So I think that's in the purview of our member to the task force. Is that okay, Councillor Langmaid?
Absolutely. So the Culture and Wellness the Community Wellness Task Force has been taking on a number of cultural activities throughout the town. Throughout the last couple of years, they were funded through the SILP grant, and now that the SILP grant has concluded, this motion allows us to continue the important work that task force has been doing and to continue on that advisory function and ensuring that Strathmore is a welcoming community to all, and to continue on the important work of the task force for the remainder of this council term.
Thank you, Councillor Langmaid. My comments would be that I think this has been a little bit of a speed bump for us, and we're carrying on for the rest of this term to fulfill some of the things we put in our strategic plan, and it's something that can still do some really good work for the community, and I value the people who are on that committee. So thank you, Councillor Langmaid, as well, for being our councillor rep. Councillor Wiley.
I don't think I'll be supporting this motion. From the reading that I've been doing on it, the events have been underwhelmingly attended, and I don't think it's a good use of taxpayer money to be paying for events that have as few as 5 people, sometimes even 0. So I won't be supporting it.
Thank you. Councillor Peterson, and then back to Councillor Langmaid.
So, Your Worship, I attended 17 events, most of which were directed under this, and I found that having lived here for 40 years, I still had a great deal to learn about my community. And I learned so much about the cultural groups that exist within this community, and I hope Councillor Langmaid will speak to the information that was gleaned through this work. I also saw the outcomes from the work of the committee in other areas. For instance, I was pleased to be in attendance at an elders meeting on Siksika, where they spoke about the cultural events that had happened in the very recent history of our community since the inception of this task force, and how in their lifetime they had never felt welcome in this community. In fact, they talked about very specific events in this community of things that had happened to them where they felt fearful and afraid. And when you think about it from a compassionate community wellness perspective, that was a sad era in our history, and I congratulate this task force for being able, and our community, our FCSS community in our town, for making such strides to overcome it. I could go on at great length about the impact that it's had on our Siksika partnership from the Siksika perspective, and only to say that it has been profound, and so to continue the work is an important component of it. I also want to say that having this task force be able to set themselves up to be able to guide planning for future councils is also very, very important. And finally, that the work that this group did has been carried on by other groups within our community and has a presence in the community almost on a weekly basis now through other community endeavors.
Thank you for that. Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you very much. In light of the time, I won't go too deeply into it, but I'm very proud of the work that the committee's done and that our FCSS has been able to do in connecting with the different cultures that already exist in our community. FCSS has been able to connect with over 55 different cultures that are represented by residents in our community, by our constituents and our electors. These are folks that live within our community, and these events have been planned and held with their partnership. And we've been able to forge really important relationships, not only with them, but with partner organizations throughout town. Many of the events that have been held were a lot smaller, were quite small in scale. So when you see small attendances, it's important to note that you might see 10 people attending, but the cap on attendance was maybe 12 or 13. So they were well attended in terms of ratio, but that is some feedback that I will be taking back to the task force with the recommendation that we focus on fewer events, but larger events, and events that encompass the breadth and diversity of our entire community. Rather than individual smaller events. And that's something I'll be taking to the task force. And I think, I hope to see many community members join, and I hope to see them, I'm excited to see them take off and continue on with the success that we've already started.
Thank you, Councillor Langmaid. Are there any other councillors who wish to be heard, or have we discussed this enough? Then I'll call the question. All in favor and opposed? Thank you, Council. That motion is approved. Councillor Wegener.
I move that Council direct administration to authorize a letter discussed during the closed meeting item 5.2 on March 12th, 2025, special council meeting agenda, and that it is to remain confidential under FOIP section 23(1)A, 24(1)A, 24(1)BI, and 27(1)A.
Thank you for that motion. Is there any discussion on that motion? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? And that motion is carried. And we move now to item 6.1, Land Use Bylaw, amending bylaw number 24-22, found on page 29. Councillor Wiley.
I'm sorry, was admin going to make a presentation? If not, I am ready with the motion.
No, we're good.
All right. I move that council give first reading to bylaw 2422, being a bylaw to amend land use bylaw number 14-11, and that council direct administration to schedule a public hearing for bylaw number 24-22 on April 16th, 2025 at 7 o'clock in the council chambers.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Just that I'm looking forward to hearing more about this and learning about it at the public hearing.
Thank you. I'll now call the question. All in favor? That motion is carried. Councillor Wegener.
I move that council give first reading to bylaw number 2506, being a bylaw to amend the land use bylaw number 1411, and that council direct administration to schedule a public hearing for bylaw number 2506 on April 16th, 2025 at 7:10 p.m. in council chamber, or following the conclusion of the public hearing for bylaw number 2422.
Thank you. I'm assuming, looking around, there's no discussion or debate on that. And I'll call the question. All in favor? And that motion is also carried. And at this time, I would like to adjourn the meeting at 9:17.